Oh my god! This game is...
Wonder what the game is.
Hello everybody, it's Bat, and this is Satisfactory Review. Is it worth getting 2021? In this video, I'll be speaking about what the game is about, its mechanics, performance, graphics, and much more. So you can figure out if you should get Satisfactory. Let's go. Satisfactory is an open world 3D first person game centered around building and automating efficient factories. When you first start the game, you're dropped onto a desolate alien planet with the goal of constructing increasingly complex factories. You build the factories to drain the planet's resources and send them off to Fixit Corporation, whom you work for and were sent to the planet by. Satisfactory was released in March 2019 and is still in early access stage. As I mentioned, it's mainly about building factories. You start the game off with nothing but a few gadgets, such as a simple weapon and a little tool that you can use to harvest small amount of resources. In the beginning, you use these tools to gather supplies manually, but soon you can start building machines that can harvest these resources for you. As you get further into the game, you're forced to use these resources to build more advanced products and take more steps in the production lines. And before you know it, you've built a factory that's bigger than... There's really no good comparison here. If you're considering buying this game, you might have heard or even played similar games like Factorio or Dyson Sphere. If that's the case, I think you'll absolutely love this game. You'll also be surprised to find it's very comparable with games such as Subnautica, Ark Survival Evolved, Astroneer, Minecraft but modded, and also those Roblox Tycoon games. So if you enjoy any of those games, Satisfactory might just be for you. The map is pre-generated, meaning everybody has the same map. Some would say that this is a negative, but because of this, the environments and the map you play on is able to be way better looking because it's designed by the devs. Honestly, the graphics are astonishing and every surrounding and biome you're in will make you stop and stare at the view. That is one of my favorite features in this game. The general looks, design, animations and graphics. Also the machines and buildings are really beautiful and well designed. As I mentioned, there are different biomes in this game. In fact, there are 21 named biomes, with forests, mountains, cliffs, caves, and much more. There are 4 main biomes, which also are your choices for where you want to spawn when you start the game. Here they are: the grass fields, the rocky deserts, the northern forest, and the dune deserts. The biomes are different in difficulty and amount and diversity of resources, and some are adapted for beginners and some for more experienced players. The map is not infinite, but it's pretty damn big, and I've never had a problem with taking up too much space. According to the wiki, it's 30 square kilometers big. Also, before I continue, take the time to subscribe to this channel, leave the feedback in the comments section below. Alright, here's probably the first negative. The game has a pretty big amount of bugs. It is in early access, so that is to be expected, but at times it can get really annoying. I've myself noticed a numerous amount of bugs with the vehicles. Although that is a pretty easy fix by removing and placing it, it still can get disturbing after a while. But take these bugs into consideration when thinking about buying the game. There is also a cooperative mode, aka multiplayer, available. This is honestly really great. If you choose to play this, it makes the game a little bit easier and also a bit more enjoyable. I've myself had a lot of fun in this game with friends. But I have to mention that the bugs are even more common in multiplayer. Sometimes this becomes an issue, but as long as you're aware of them, it's pretty easily worked around. But while on the topic of these bugs, I have to say the devs of the game, Coffee Stain Studios, are really great, and bugs are often patched quite frequently, and they are really open with fans and answers a lot of questions and so on. They also have a YouTube channel where they release a ton of information. I also have to mention that Coffee Stain Studios are the creators of Goat Simulator. Yeah? Remember that game? I told you that the main focus in the game was building efficient factories. But if you're thinking what I first thought, then you're thinking that the factory part might get boring, might not be enough, and you won't enjoy the game. Well, even if that were to be the case, Satisfactory also contains combat and exploration. There's also a large number of mobs in the game that roams the wildlands and also guards resources and other valuable supplies. There are tons of reasons to go out and explore the map, even other than the resources. So if you're worrying about that, it's not an issue. One underrated aspect I find very enjoyable in Satisfactory is the movement. In this game you have to transport around a lot, and because the movements mechanics are so great, I generally have a good time doing it. Movement is something I consider to be very important in games, and Satisfactory really nailed this part. It reminds me a lot of CSGO surfing. It's great. Here comes one that could be seen as a negative or positive. It's extremely time consuming. I've had days where I've had important stuff to do, but ended up playing this game all day instead. So if that's not an issue and you have a lot of time on your hands, go ahead. If it hasn't come across clear yet, this game features a ton of content, so you'll not get bored of Satisfactory anytime soon. Also, the way this game introduces this content to you is pretty brilliant. If I were to show you my whole factory and try to explain everything, you probably wouldn't understand a thing. But the game's learning curve is near perfectly matching with the speed at which the content is introduced. This makes it so at the end of the game, you will understand everything perfectly. I also think that Satisfactory has a lot of replayability. I have restarted this game like 3 or 4 times now already, and there are tons of reasons to replay and try things differently, like starting in another location or try a new playing strategy. Okay, let's talk about performance and requirements. I have a pretty decent PC in the price range of about $1,200, and I can run this game with pretty much no issue. I can, however, imagine that at some point when your world and factory gets enormous, you run into some sort of issue with too many entities or whatever. But this hasn't happened to me yet. I'm also going to show you what the game's minimum requirements are, according to Can You Run It. Here they are. So, as you see, the requirements aren't especially high. But if I were you, I would also keep this into consideration when buying the game. Satisfactory is currently available for purchase on Steam and Epic Games. As far as I'm aware, there are no current sales. The prices are the same on Steam and Epic Games. The prices vary in different regions, so here they are. On Steam and Epic Games, Satisfactory is for sale for the price of $30 in America, £28 in the UK, and €30 in the rest of Europe. I also want to mention that crossplay between Steam and Epic Games is possible and available, although I haven't tried it myself. Alright, I suppose that's it.